Ever wondered if the majority's opinion is always the right one? Let's take a moment to ponder this question. In our daily life, we often find ourselves swayed by the majority's opinion, assuming that if most people believe in something, then it must be correct. This is a common occurrence, a societal norm that has been ingrained in us since childhood. But let's take a step back and question this accepted truth. Is the majority's opinion always right? The answer, surprisingly, is no. This is what we call the majority's fallacy, the misconception that the majority's opinion is always correct. But why is this a fallacy? Well, simply because an opinion held by many does not necessarily make it the truth. To illustrate this point, let's travel back in time to when people believed the Earth was flat. Yes, that's right, there was a time when the majority of people believed that if you sailed too far, you would fall off the edge of the world. This belief was held by many, from ordinary citizens to learned scholars. It was the accepted truth, the majority's opinion, and yet it was utterly incorrect. The Earth, as we all know today, is not flat. It's an oblate spheroid, round like a ball, but slightly flattened at the poles and bulging at the equator. This fact, however, was not widely accepted until centuries after the flat Earth theory reigned supreme. So, what does this tell us? It tells us that the majority can be and often is wrong. It reminds us that we should not blindly accept an idea just because it is popular or widely accepted. Instead, we should question, investigate, and form our own opinions based on facts and evidence. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with information, it's more important than ever to think critically and independently. After all, the majority's opinion is not always the right one, and history is filled with examples to prove it. As history has shown, the majority can be wrong, and often is. So let's not fall into the trap of the majority's fallacy. Let's dare to think differently. But what if you could break free from the majority's influence and think independently? Imagine a world where each person is a unique cog in the machinery of progress, contributing their distinct ideas and perspectives. This is the power of individual thinking. Individual thinking is the engine that drives innovation and progress. It's the ability to question, to probe, to look beyond the obvious. It's about not accepting things at face value, but digging deeper to find the truth. It's the birthplace of new ideas, the spark that ignites revolutions, and the key that unlocks the door to the future. Let's consider the case of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Jobs was not content to follow the status quo in technology. He didn't want to make products that were just good enough. He wanted to create something extraordinary, something that would change the world, and he did just that. Jobs thought differently. He saw a future where technology was not just functional, but beautiful and intuitive. His vision was not shared by everyone. In fact, many thought he was crazy. But Jobs was undeterred. He knew the power of his individual thinking, and he used it to create products that revolutionized the tech industry. His unique approach to technology was born out of his individual thinking. He dared to challenge the norms, to question the accepted, to disrupt the status quo. And in doing so, he changed our world. The iPhone, the iPad, the Mac. These are all products of Jobs' unique vision, his refusal to conform, his individual thinking. The power of individual thinking extends beyond the realm of technology. It's evident in every field, every industry, every aspect of life. From the arts to science, from business to politics, individual thinking is the catalyst for change and progress. So never underestimate the power of your own thoughts. Your ideas, your perspectives, your unique approach to the world, these are your greatest assets. They are the tools with which you can shape your own destiny and contribute to the progress of our world. Innovative thinking often comes from challenging the status quo, not conforming to it. Have you ever been swayed by groupthink? It's a phenomenon that's as common as it is insidious. Groupthink. It's when a group of individuals reaches a consensus without critical reasoning or evaluation of the consequences. It's when the desire for harmony in a group leads to an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. The result? The stifling of original thought and the suppression of dissenting viewpoints. Let's take a trip back to the mid-80s, to one of the most tragic examples of groupthink in action, the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. On a cold January morning, 7 astronauts lost their lives when the Challenger exploded shortly after launch. The cause was a faulty O-ring seal, a problem that some engineers had actually identified prior to the launch. So why did the launch proceed? Groupthink. Engineers from the contractor company raised concerns about the O-ring's performance in cold weather. However, they were pressured into going along with the majority's opinion that the launch should proceed as scheduled. The desire to maintain harmony within the group overrode the critical evaluation of the potential risks. But it's not just in high-stakes scenarios like space travel where groupthink can have devastating effects. It can permeate our workplaces, our social gatherings, and even our own homes. It can discourage original ideas, suppress healthy debate, and prevent the exploration of diverse perspectives. It's important to remember, just because a group agrees on something doesn't mean they're right. The majority can be swayed by biases, by misinformation, by the desire to fit in. In the face of groupthink, we must strive to maintain our individuality, our ability to question, to challenge, to think differently. So, the next time you're in a group decision-making situation, ask yourself, are we all just going along to get along? Are we stifling dissent and original thought in favor of a false harmony? Remember, it's okay to step back, to question, to challenge the status quo. Groupthink can lead to disastrous outcomes. Individual thought can prevent them. What if you could cultivate your own original thoughts? Now there's a question to ponder over. It's a tantalizing possibility, isn't it? To be able to create and nurture your own unique ideas, to break free from the shackles of conformity, and to truly think for yourself. One of the key ways to cultivate original thought is to encourage curiosity. Curiosity is the spark that ignites the flame of originality. It's the driving force that pushes us to explore new ideas, to seek out fresh perspectives, and to challenge the status quo. It's about asking questions, about digging deeper, about not being satisfied with easy answers. Let's take Albert Einstein, for instance. In his youth, Einstein was not a particularly exceptional student. In fact, one of his teachers even told him he would never amount to anything. But Einstein was intensely curious. He would spend hours performing thought experiments, imagining himself riding alongside a beam of light or falling freely in a gravitational field. It was this curiosity, this relentless desire to understand the world around him, that led to the development of the theory of relativity, forever changing our understanding of physics. Cultivating original thought is also about questioning assumptions. We all carry with us a set of beliefs and ideas that we take for granted, that we assume to be true without questioning. But to think originally, we need to challenge these assumptions. We need to ask ourselves, why do I believe this? Is there any evidence to support it? Could there be another explanation? Finally, seeking diverse perspectives is crucial in fostering original thought. When we surround ourselves with people who think just like us, who share our beliefs and our perspectives, we end up in an echo chamber. But when we engage with people who have different experiences, who come from different backgrounds, who see the world in a different light, we are exposed to a wealth of ideas that can fuel our original thinking. Fostering original thought is about nurturing curiosity, challenging assumptions, and embracing diversity. And remember, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about being true to yourself and your ideas. Can the minority truly make a difference? This question has ignited countless debates, sparked revolutions, and fueled the engines of change throughout history. But to truly understand the power of the minority, we must look beyond numbers and delve into the realm of ideas, passions, and courage. The minority, by definition, is less in number, but never underestimate the strength that can be found in a small group of determined individuals. It's not always about how many you are, but how much you are willing to fight for what you believe in. The power of the minority lies in their ability to challenge the status quo, to push boundaries, and to ignite change. Consider the case of Rosa Parks, a single woman who, in 1955, refused to give her seat on a bus to a white man, as was the law in the segregated South of the United States. Parks was not a wealthy woman of influence. She was not part of the majority. Yet, her act of defiance sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a pivotal event in the civil rights movement. Rosa Parks's courage to stand up, or rather sit down for her rights, was a powerful testament to the power of the minority. Her act of defiance, though seemingly small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things, ignited a movement that changed the course of history. But the power of the minority is not confined to the pages of history books. It is alive and well in our world today. It is the power of a single voice that dares to speak out against injustice, the power of a small group of activists who refuse to be silenced, the power of an idea that challenges the status quo. So can the minority truly make a difference? The answer is a resounding yes. The power of the minority is not in their number, but in their courage to stand up for what they believe in their determination to challenge the status quo, and in their ability to inspire change. Even when outnumbered, the minority can drive monumental change. It's not about following the majority, but forging your own path.